Hey, it's Buddy Lee. Welcome to my channel. Alright, so we have volume 4 of the God Tier Synergy Team videos with the robot team. For this team, we're going to start off with Warlock. Then we add in Ultron, and he has a synergy with Warlock, giving a big 60% fury buff anytime a champion is immune to a debuff. Next is Guillotine 2099, who synergizes with Ultron, giving Ultron reduced stun duration per armor buff, and also all metal champions get a 5% health and attack boost. Another big synergy here is between Guillotine and Warlock, which gives us 70% bar of power whenever a champion's immune to bleed or poison. So this applies to Guillotine, Warlock, and also our next champion on the team, Nebula. Nebula also gets an extra self-repair regen from this team. And the final spot is kinda cheating with Hulkbuster, but he's half robot, right? And this gives Ultron his big synergy, extending the cauterize function by 7 seconds and really boosting his damage. One other option for the final spot on this team would be Proxima Midnight, and this is if you want to focus the team more onto Nebula, since it lets her start with 10 charges right away and cuts her ramp up in half. But for this showcase, we're just going to stick with Hulkbuster. So this is the team, and we're going to test them on Act 6.3.1 on a really nice path for them that has both Biohazard and Clapback. Also, we're going to be using Ultron for the Medusa Do You Bleed boss, since I've seen many people asking if he can do that fight recently. We'll use Nebula first, and she really excels on this path even more than the rest because of Clapback. When we apply Shock, it'll also try to be applied to Nebula, but she's immune, as well as it giving her more charges whenever it tries to apply. Right off the bat, we get 70% of a bar of power and that fury buff from the synergies, and we're going to start building up our charges to 20. As we're building to 20 charges, we'll be hitting Invisible Woman on the block and picking up burst of power along the way, and we're going to basically have 2 bars of power by the time we're fully charged. Now I need to take down Invisible Woman's shield, and then land a parry and drop that SP2 to nuke her down. We land the SP2 and also have a Fury buff active as we do it, and this is going to finish her off with 26k per tick shock damage. For Ghost, we'll use Warlock since she has cornered and we can avoid placing damage over time debuffs. Again, we're starting out with the extra power and the fury buff, and this is going to help these fights go much faster. We hit another power gain and we're close to SP3, so I throw SP2 here and we'll try to get to another SP2 before the armor breaks wear off. The power gain helps us get to a second SP2 with armor breaks already up, so this closes out the show. We'll ramp up Guillotine on this Hulk, and he has Pilfer regeneration, which actually means he has a 20% chance to nullify a buff and gain 20% power, so Guillotine can do a power drain on her SP1 if we need to. The power gain synergy can be really good for Guillotine, especially after she's ramped up. One issue for her is doing too much damage after ramp up to make it back to SP3 to finish the fight and keep the ramp up going, so this can assist her with that. We were able to get to SP3 twice already, and it's starting to look like we won't be able to finish with another one, so I'll land some hits into the block and get some power gain and then finish the fight ramped up. Green Goblin is always annoying with his regen, so we'll use Warlock again, who will shut down his normal regen and the Masochism regen. That was some high level gameplay there, and then we land a power gain pushing us to SP3, which can happen if you aren't careful, but we need to recover a little anyways, so it's not too bad. Well, that fight was a little messy, but we got it done. Let's test out this ramped up Guillotine, and I do think that Yellowjacket reduces her red damage, but this Yellowjacket puts a constant power sting debuff on you, so Guillotine will be best because she doesn't have to throw any specials. Super simple fight here, and Guillotine finishes with the full yellow bar. We've been neglecting Ultron so far, so let's use him here, and we'll also get back to him for the Medusa boss as well. Ultron isn't actually included in the power gain synergy, but he's still pretty great without it. I decided to just use a couple SP1s instead of an SP2 and then SP1 since I think it would be overkill. I'm going with Nebula for this Modok fight, and since I'm worried that his auto block will mess up my SP2 burst shock damage, I'm going to change the strategy up a little bit. So I land a parry with 5 charges, and you can see that I'm right back to 5 charges immediately, since the clapback node is trying to apply shock to Nebula, and she converts them back into charges. So I'm basically able to just keep applying more shock and then land a heavy, and I'm gonna keep doing that until I get to an SP3. Now I'm up to 20 charges without having to charge them through block, and we can just keep applying them with parry. That was a pretty cool fight, and I'm not even sure I was doing it right. This is another Warlock fight, since he's able to armor break and Mysterio has a node with extra power gain while his helmet's active. Alright, we haven't let the half-robot Hulkbuster do anything yet, and he can do a pretty great job against this annoying Black Bolt. So Black Bolt has Life Cycle, Limber, and Aggressive Regeneration, so he can get a little out of hand if you use up all your parries and can't find an opening to knock him down, and then finish him off because of Life Cycle. This SP2 cycle with heavy spam will make it very easy for us to deal with life cycle when we get to the end of the fight. This is the thing that you always have to be worried about with Hulkbuster. Sometimes the heavy spam isn't quite lined up and you can miss the heavy. We had the one slip up, but Hulkbuster gets it done. Alright, here is the Do You Bleed Medusa boss, and we're going to be using Ultron, who does great bleed damage, but has a tough time with the buff it node. However, he can use the SP3 bug along with Hulkbuster synergy to apply a heal block that will last the entire fight, and then we can get the job done. At least until they fix the bug, if they ever do. So basically we're just going to be using SP3 only, and then landing big bleeds from heavies when all of our functions refresh. So I land a heavy before throwing the SP3 to make the cauterize function stronger, and then after the SP3 we'll have a heal block active for the rest of the fight unless we throw a different type of special, which is why we're just sticking to SP3. Now we're doing some nice bleed damage with a little under 6k bleeds from that heavy attack. This last stack of bleeds from Heavy is ticking over 10k per tick, and it's going to finish her off. Now, Ultron wasn't the best counter I've seen, but if you don't have any other better options, this strategy isn't half bad. Well, that's going to do it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.